I have a confession to make. I've never once watched an anime film if we exclude One Piece, Pokemon, and Naruto movies, which I watched at like the age of 10. So I would like for all of you who see this to put your favorite anime film in the replies, and I shall watch them. That was something I tweeted last month since I wanted to see just what was the appeal of anime movies. I've always wondered that, and now I finally see it. Anime movies opened a new gate for me, and now I would love to give you my honest opinions on every movie I've been recommended and I watched. Before I do that though, I will put out a couple of disclaimers. The first one is that these are only my opinions. This is not an objective, but a subjective list. The second disclaimer is that almost every single one of these movies were good in my opinion, and most of them could have been 5 places higher or lower, depending on how I felt the day I watched them. Many factors went into this, so that's why from the second last on, I'll be very nitpicky, except for one, the last one, and that is Paprika. Now, why do I think that Paprika is bad? It is a pretty high rated movie and people seem to enjoy it quite a lot, but why don't I? Well, pretty simple actually. I had no idea what was going on the whole time I've been watching. I get that there is this mini thing and that it plays with the dreams or whatever, but I had no idea how, why, or when was anything that was happening actually happening. And I myself am not a huge fan of the cliche, maybe one day you will wake up and this will all just be a dream thing. But I so hoped that that was what was going to happen. It would also fit into the story, since it's about dreams. But yeah, that was my reason. Number 13. Princess Mononoke. Now, I know that this is the second to last place and that I will talk about things I didn't like about it, but this was a very good watch. From here on, every single movie will be at least good, enjoyable watch. But why is this not any higher on the list? Well, because of two reasons. The first one is that there was some plot points that didn't make much sense to me. I would really like to delve into spoilers here, but I would like to keep this as spoilerless as possible, so I'm just gonna say that there was an important character who was established as a specific type, then did a complete 180, and then at the end was the same character as before. And none of it made sense to me, and neither did this sentence. If you want to know who it is and why do I think this way, feel free to ask me in the comments. Now, the second and the biggest thing in my opinion was that it bit off more than it could chew. They tried to implement so many themes that they kinda got lost in one another. Humans versus the nature, humans and the nature, humans versus humans, humans and humans, what it means to be yourself, how a single person can affect the world, and on and on and on and on. It just kept going on and I was like, please. I don't know really, but it seemed to me that this movie was kind of a jack of all trades, master of none. Anyway, despite that, I found some real enjoyment out of it, and I believe many did as well. Number 12. Howl's Moving Castle. Yeah, the title of this video wasn't bait. I know that Ghibli is like the god of anime movies, but I didn't really feel it. Once again, I have 2 points I want to make as to why this is placed as low as it is, but it was still enjoyable, remember that. The first point is a single plot point that was established and discarded for a moment, then came right back into play. It isn't a massive point, but it's just stuck in my head, and once again, this is something to say for every movie here. Since I will not be talking spoilers, feel free to ask in the comments. The next point is that they would do some things for the sake of plot progression that would just leave you like, why did this happen, and why is there no fucking explanation? And no one in the story even mentions it. It bugged me quite a bit, but yeah, I'm glad that we are done with the Ghibli films. And now let's move on to number 11. Fuck. I'm a dead man now. Yes, it's another Ghibli one. But this one is a lot better than the last ones. I don't even have a huge point to criticize it on. Most of the reason is the main character. I love what she is trying to convey, that you need to be true to yourself and not try to change to fit in a quote-unquote better group. But I feel like her character is a bit too plain and too easy to convince. And I know that it makes a bit of sense, but it just seems really unnatural to me. But now to finally talk about what I liked in this video, and that is the core cast, except for the main character. I love the Baron and Muta, and they make such a lovable pairing. I also love the prince, but his appearance was brief, so I don't want to talk about him too much. Number 10. Akira. Akira is the anime movie, and I most definitely loved it. But somehow, I never felt truly immersed. The ending felt pretty out of place in my opinion, and most of the characters I never truly came to love. But the character that mattered the most, Kaneda, was so good. I don't really know why, but I loved him so much, and yeah, that's about as far as I can go for now. Number 9. 5 centimeters per second. 5 centimeters per second is either a 3-episode series, depending on what you think, but I, just as many others, think that it's a movie, and that's why it's here. And if not for the first episode, I would have put it quite a bit higher. But the first episode, even though it was necessary, was very slow and it didn't have me feeling anything, even though I think I should have felt at least something. But the last 2 episodes were really good. Takaki and Kanae were very interesting characters, and yeah, that's about it. Number 8. Perfect Blue. This is how you explain the nonsense that was happening, Paprika, you hear me? I love this, the ending made so much sense in retrospect. Anticipation building was amazing, and if only it was made in recent times with the current animation technology, it would be so much higher on the list. I appreciate what they have done with the animation, since this was made all the way back in '97, but I guess this is the right time to mention that I'm judging this by today's standards, and many of you might disagree with me. But it is now that I'm watching this, and it is about my current enjoyment, so come at me as shits. Anyway, except for the animation, which was still very good, there is not much more to say here. Number 7. Garden of Words. After seeing its length, I didn't expect much out of this movie. I mean, there are so many long anime out there that still have shit characters. But damn was I wrong. The characters became so close to my heart by the end of the movie. You got to know them really well, and they made such logical decisions. There is even this one point where there is an action, but the dialogue was cut out. But you still knew what they said word for word. I love it when they do that. Oh, and also the OST, sick. Number 6. Wolf Children. God damn, the top 6 was hard to decide. I knew these were the ones that were going to be here, but all of them could have switched places depending on how I felt that day. There are no bad things I can tell about any of these, so I'll talk about things that amazed me about these. And when it comes down to Wolf Children, that is the Wolf Children. They are not that amazing characters when it comes down to what they are, but more so what they represent. They are pretty good characters on their own, but the fact that they represent what people really are is one of the most interesting things here. Their father seems to have accepted both his wolf and human side, but they each decided to accept only one of those. And the way they went about it was really amazing. Number 5. The Boy and the Beast. There is nothing this movie was good at. It was great at everything. The downside, it wasn't amazing at anything either. Else it would have been number 1, no questions asked. The characters, great. Their interactions, great. Their decisions, great and making a lot of sense. And so on and so on. But if I had to pick only one thing about this movie, it has to be the lesson. A lot, and I mean a lot of anime try to convey this message of not giving up, but I don't think there is a single one that does it the same way. Most anime make the main characters suck, and then suddenly be able to keep up with their mastery in everything. Here it is done in such a better way, showing our main character managing to keep up only at one thing, then skipping quite a bit into the future, showing just how long it took to get to where he is, step by step. Number 4. Promare. Promare was such a success when it aired, quite recently in the grand scheme of things actually, and I definitely see why. There are so many good and great things about it, but there is one thing it does better than anyone else on this list. Animation. You surprised? Studio Shaft back at it again with amazing animation, and my eyes still can't blink to this day because of that awesomeness. There were so many great aspects of this movie, but this is one I just had to point out. Number 3. Your Name. I know that after that tweet of mine gushing over it, many of you expected for me to place it number 1. But no, it's not. The surprise factor. This show had a couple of good parts, mostly great ones, and a couple of amazing ones. From the ending, which for some reason people think was anticlimactic, to the character building, to the premise. But the biggest part for me was emotion conveying. I was crying with a smile, what is not something I do a lot. I felt a bunch of emotions and I felt them to the core, which was the biggest reason I loved it so much. Number 2. Ride Your Wave. Here is one you didn't expect. Ride Your Wave was such a different experience for me. It had such interesting animation, which I loved. The one song that was playing the whole time was, in my opinion, the best song in the whole roster of movies that we are talking about today. But one thing I think it excels at is playing with the audience. It purposely makes you think that a certain thing will happen when it actually doesn't happen for a bit of time. That makes you certain it will not happen, and then it does happen. But because of what you already decided, you don't know whether you believe in it, and it does this on many occasions, constantly playing with us, and it made me not know what to expect. And I just decided to give up and sit and enjoy what I am watching. And when it all came together at the end, I just had that moment when you finish some good ass anime and you just close your laptop and say with full satisfaction, that was some good shit. Here we are at the end of the road. It was hella bumpy and probably filled with some shit opinions, but hey, that's life. And now we came to the number 1 spot, A Silent Voice. A Silent Voice was such an impactful movie for me because of many things. The characters were absolutely sublime. The writing was so good. The animation was stunning. Every single character had some impact on the end of the story. But the biggest thing for me was the main character, Shoyo Ishida. He is someone I relate to on such a spiritual level. Not for exactly the same reasons as him, but there is something about him that really talks to me, and that is the fact that he evades everyone, because he thinks everyone knows something about him, what will make everyone think of him as a bad person. It is so hard to put into words, but this is something I've been struggling with since I was like 8 or 9, what is a very young age, and now I'm 17 and I'm still struggling with this massively. The reasons for it are private, but this movie showed me that I will be able to survive through it, but only if I work really hard on myself. What I've been doing anyway, but this gave me that extra bit of motivation I needed to do it even harder. Well, that was a long time. Maybe not for you, but to me it was so hard to decide where to place what, and yeah, I'm pretty exhausted right now, to be honest with you. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions about whatever, leave them down in the comments. If you have some spoilers, tag spoilers, like just so if someone starts reading they can skip through it, please. And yeah, if you like the video, leave a like, share it, comment, subscribe, I don't know, do whatever you want to do. And that's about it. Trigger off.